Welcome back to the Hall Pass Summer School. I'm Brytin Fears.
I'm Gus Brown.
And I'm Gage Creaky. And today we are joined by Ryland Miller. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got here?
Yeah, you betcha. So, like you said, Ryland Miller, President and CEO of the Ottawa Area Chamber of Commerce. I've actually worked for the Chamber of Commerce for 6 years now. I actually would have started with the Chamber when I was an intern. I was at Ottawa University finishing up my undergraduate degree, and I had the opportunity to intern here at the Chamber. That internship turned into a part-time job, which then turned into a full-time job as I was doing my master's. And after I graduated with my master's, I stuck around. And then whenever our President and CEO of 10 years would have announced his retirement, they had a hiring committee form, and I threw my name in that hat, and then I was chosen to be able to lead the organization as well. So been around for a handful of years and been able to see the organization from several different levels and get to do some really cool stuff here at the Chamber.
Okay.
What are the main industries boosting Ottawa's economy in 2025?
Yeah, it's an interesting worded question. All local businesses are helping our local economy. So more business means more sales tax, more property tax. So all good things. And so I do want to, when you talk about boosting our local economy and the way money is spent, just economics in general, I wanted to bring up a point about this idea of the local multiplier effect. The idea of when you buy from a big box store compared to buying from a small mom and pop shop, and also buying from online, whether it's Amazon or another online distributor, how those monies get moved around our community. So not a real in-depth lesson, but the idea is when you spend money at your local mom and pop shop or locally owned businesses, those dollars end up sticking around 3 times longer than if you were to use a big box store. It's great that we have a Walmart in our community, but that money oftentimes doesn't stick around. So obviously when they pay their employees, the employees live here, they're spending their money locally, but maybe if you're thinking about a business like a pharmacy per se, they're not only employing their staff, but they're also buying their supplies from local vendors, and they're being able to get their building serviced by a local electrician if that were to come up. And so long story short is when people shop locally, that actually boosts our local economy more than if you were to definitely buy online. When you buy online and you get it shipped to your house, obviously there's someone that has to deliver that package. So if they're a local person, it's going to pay their wage, but otherwise there's really no economic benefit from shopping online. So that money doesn't stay here locally. As a country, as a nation, that it does help. But so when you're talking about trying to be able to get the most bang for our buck, being able to spend our dollars here at our local businesses is the best way to be able to support our local economy. That's a lot of words. Hopefully that was. I mean, was that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Lots of businesses in town, and all of them are making progress on.
Can you share details about new businesses or new business ownership in the town?
You bet. Yeah, it was actually really exciting. So we often host networking events where we celebrate new businesses, whether it's maybe a new employee or maybe it's an addition to a building. In that case, we do a ribbon cutting. Maybe it's a new building altogether. And we've had 2 ribbon cuttings over the last few weeks. So an example of that was Country Financial. Steve Savage is a new business owner here in town, opening up an insurance firm off of 68, Hometown Vet Clinic. We just would have had a ribbon cutting for them as well. Again, another local business that just opened. We actually have 4 ribbon cuttings scheduled over the next month alongside those. Some examples of that was Pizza Time has new ownership. We're doing a ribbon cutting for them. Just a few buildings down, KC Appliance Store is a new appliance store downtown that we're doing a ribbon cutting for. And a really big one, not here in Ottawa, but up in Wellsville, Advent Health has renovated that clinic in Wellsville, multi-million-dollar investment, and we'll be doing a ribbon cutting for them here in July as well. So long story short is there's a lot of new businesses open in our community. Some of them look like new businesses altogether. In the case of Pizza Time, it's new ownership after someone retired, which maybe be slightly less flashy than a brand new building, but it's still very exciting because we all love our Pizza Time, and we're glad that they're going to be able to stick around regardless of who that ownership looks like. And so it's great to be able to see the investment that business owners are seeing that Ottawa and Franklin County is a great place to do business. Otherwise, they wouldn't be opening their doors here. And we're continuing to see new businesses open, which means it must be doing something right as a community, huh?
How are recent electric utility rates how are they affecting local businesses?
Utilities across the board, whether it's through the city of Ottawa, through electric rate, if you're using Evergy, if you're outside the city of Ottawa, or Kansas Gas Service, utilities go up in price. They haven't gone down, I don't believe, probably ever, and I highly doubtful that they will. And that really is just a trend of everything. All goods and services seem to be going up in price, and I don't think that's something that's going to stop outright. The idea is to try to slow it down as much as possible, but for those small businesses, it's harder than ever to be able to own a small businesses. The price of things just make that challenging. The price of hiring employees also makes that challenging as you continue to see wages increase. And so I would say, how are they affecting local businesses? It's the more the costs rise, the harder it is for them to be able to do business. But as a community, as a nation, businesses continue to be adaptive and figure out how to be able to navigate those increases and still be able to provide the services they can to be able to hopefully make a profit, provide for their families, provide for their staff.
One kind of question I want to ask before we get to this. So if I were to shop more locally, does that business benefit? I'm trying to figure out how to word this. So is it better to shop locally than go to Walmart or something where it's a big store that pops up everywhere? Is it better to shop locally than?
In regards to the way, and I guess some of it's your needs, right? There's going to be some things at Walmart that I don't know if you'd actually be able to find at a store here in town. So again, going back to it, I feel like, and people use it in conversation, right? Where it's I don't want to live in a town without a Walmart. There's definitely some very real benefits that having a establishment like a Walmart or a big box store has. Price Chopper along with that as well. A Tractor Supply. Those are businesses that add opportunities to be able to purchase things that maybe you'd have to leave town for otherwise. So I definitely don't want to discount the effect that they have on our community. They're great community players as well, but maybe a different example outside of Walmart would be looking if you were going to be able to buy your paint here in town versus going to Lawrence or Olathe to be able to buy paint. Those sales tax dollars, if you buy them here in town, buy them in the community that you live in, that money then stays, the sales tax stays here, but then also you're giving money to a business who, again, is going to be able to pay their taxes, but also be able to pay their employees, also be able to probably eat out every once in a while. They're going to be buying their groceries here. So by spending money for that individual that lives here in town, they're also going to be spending their money here in town, hopefully. And as a result, that's how you can grow a community, is by keeping your money local. And it also gives the opportunity for new businesses to be able to take place. When you shop locally, that mindset of being able to not go up to Olive Garden or Texas Roadhouse, but instead to be able to eat out here in town, that money sticks around here. Does that kind of make sense? Does that answer your question? Yeah.
How have businesses in Ottawa recovered from the COVID-19 pandemic by 2025?
And I think it's interesting you use the word recovered. I don't know. The world changed after the pandemic in 2020, and I don't know if there's an ever going back to the way the world was before. A good example of that is virtual meetings. I think I would have done maybe a virtual meeting prior to 2020. Now, probably every month I'm doing a dozen or more, and that's just the world we live in now. As I say, it's easier to be able to communicate electronically because these tools that were created or at least enhanced during the pandemic have now risen to be the norm. And so I think it's also, for when you talk about businesses, the impact of e-commerce and shopping online. It's not impossible for small businesses to also have online platforms, and being able to utilize those is important. And I think more locally owned businesses are realizing that. I think the use of social media has changed to some degree as well. So I guess I would say, I don't know if there was definitely a large hit when the pandemic took place, definitely during that, a couple month lockdown when small businesses weren't able to be open. And I think that all those businesses had to do was to continue to be able to stay strong and be able to stay open. Hopefully, and obviously that's not all of them were able to, but and now I think it's just adapting to the new world that we live in, which is a post-pandemic world, if that makes sense.
So, what support does the chamber offer to small businesses around town?
Yeah, you bet. And that's a really good question. In small businesses, large businesses, so the Chamber is a membership organization. So we're a business nonprofit, but we work with not just for-profit businesses, we also work with nonprofits. So to give you some examples of what our membership is made up, we have about 300 Chamber members, and that looks like at-home businesses, small mom and pop stores, Walmart, the commercial store, but also like Walmart DC, your American Eagle Distribution Center, so large industry as well. It looks like civic clubs, like our local Rotary Club or Optimist Club. It looks like individuals, maybe some retired individuals. It looks like other nonprofits as well. So it's school districts, government, so the city of Ottawa is a chamber member. So to give you an idea of the individuals that we support, it's not definitely one shape or size. It's pretty inclusive, and anyone can be a chamber member. Prices range in regards to those membership costs depending on what kind of organization you are, but it's definitely open, and it's an open invitation too, because the more individuals that are connected and are in the know, we have a more informed society, and we have a more educated group of citizens and business leaders, and that's exactly what we're hoping for.
Are there any chamber programs tied to new projects or new ones coming up?
Yeah, I'd say Chamber has a good handful of different programs that we do. An example of a program that the Chamber puts on is our Leadership Franklin County program. And so if you've heard of Leadership Franklin County, it's a 9-month leadership course for individuals working or living in the community. And so each year, there's 20 spots. And so the Board of Trustees, who's made up of alumni of the organization, chooses 20 individuals who've applied. And then that looks like those 20 individuals throughout August all the way to April take sessions about leadership curriculum, so learning about themselves, but also learning how to be a good leader. They learn about the community by taking tours and having panels of different organizations. And then also there's a ton of networking that takes place amongst that leadership cohort as well, as those 20 individuals, often from very different industry types, whether it's healthcare, nonprofit world, city government, maybe financial institutions, are all working together through that leadership course. And then I would say at the end, come April, it end up graduating as well. And so that course has been going on since 1986. So over 40 years of Leadership Franklin County has been taking place, and it's a really neat program, and it's a program that has done a ton of good in our community. So that's one example of one of the things that the Chamber of Commerce does. It also, when it comes to like community-wide events, we also put on a handful of annual events that hopefully promote people coming to our community, staying in our community, and shopping in our community.
So what are the Chamber's top goals for the next year?
Yeah, growth. We're continuing to grow. We actually just would have hired a new staff person, so we're now a staff of 3. And I don't believe that's slowing down. Not so much the hiring of new staff, but the growth that we're continuing to see. Though I would say our membership totals doesn't seem to be increasing drastically, the engagement that we're getting from our business community continues to grow. When we put on networking events, the numbers that we're seeing showing up to those events, wanting to be around each other, celebrate with each other, and work together continues to grow. And so my goal, I guess, is there's probably some small ones specifically related to ROIs and specific pieces, but in general, the idea is to continue to enhance the opportunities that we currently have, whether it's through event programming or whether it's through that connection piece or maybe the advocacy piece. I hope that we can continue to be able to grow what we got going on. We have a lot of really good programs and a lot of good people in the right places, and don't want to lose that momentum.
So is there any specific method that the Chamber uses to attract new residents to Ottawa?
One like practical thing that we have is a community guide that we produce each year, and so that looks like a magazine, both physical and also virtual. It's on our website as well. That has information about the chamber, the city and county as a whole. It has stuff like events that are going on, or maybe area websites that you want to be able to check out. On the back end, it's got a directory with all of our member businesses listed both alphabetically and categorically, and we print 1,000 of those each year and hand those out to maybe new residents, maybe visitors that are coming to our events, students at Ottawa University, so on and so forth. We want to be able to get those in the hands of individuals who might, whether they want to stay here for a long time by relocating, or maybe staying here for a short time, just be able to shop in our downtown. Either way, we use that as a tool to be able to show off what we have in our community. And I think that's really, when you talk about attracting individuals, whether it's here to live or whether it's here just to be able to spend an evening, making sure people realize the amenities that we have as a community. Some things like 2 major state bike trails that intersect in our downtown with the Prairie Spear and Flint Hill Trail, the oldest continuously running movie theater in the world, the Plaza 1907, and a very vibrant downtown. We have lots of charm, but also some things that you just can't get in some other places around, and that's why I think people choose to be able to come here, and hopefully we can let more people know what we have, and as a result they'll be more interested in taking time to check out Ottawa and Franklin County.
Side question: How long has that theater been running? I forget. Every time.
I believe it's 1907, I believe, is whenever that I believe that's right. I'm almost positive.
I think, I don't know. Yeah.
I think I've seen that before.
And yes, it's tricky in regards to the way it's spoken. So it's not the oldest movie theater, but the longest continuously running one, because
down or
exactly that. Yeah, I don't know if you've kind of familiar, but what I've been told was that back in the early 1900s, film that was used to be able to play the movies was highly flammable. And in worlds where we didn't have HVAC and things of that nature, we had stoves or heaters that were heating up the entire building. If that film got caught on fire, it could burn your building down. And so oftentimes there was a lot of theaters that ended up facing that, and Plaza didn't. And so a lot of the reason for the fact that it's one of the most continuously running, and there's a couple other words in there too, but is because of the fact that I guess they were safe enough that they didn't burn down, which is a good thing. I'm glad that the Plaza still exists. What an awesome icon, a piece to be able to add to our downtown. It's it's a great addition.
The museum's really fun too.
Exactly that. Yeah.
I still need to go to that.
Oh, it's fun.
I've been to the other one, but. Yeah. Can you provide recent stats on job growth or unemployment in Ottawa since 2020?
Yeah, so unemployment's relatively low. I think probably around 3%, give or take, which is definitely in a manageable area. And really, when we talk about unemployment, unemployment isn't the issue. Really, workforce is the issue. So many businesses have open positions that they need filled, and we don't have the bodies to be able to fill it. That looks like from more advanced positions all the way to entry-level jobs. And so as you talk about workforce and what you do as a community to be able to approach that challenge, is trying to be able to create pipelines here locally, whether it's working with high schools to be able to make sure that our high schoolers don't end up going to other states, and maybe they choose to be able to live here after they graduate. Maybe it looks like utilizing college to be able to also fill that pipeline in, but then also just attracting new visitors, which hopefully become residents and or those who are employed in our communities. So it's not something specific just to Ottawa and Franklin County. There's I think most communities are seeing that there's workforce shortages, but it's not something that isn't being looked at. There's definitely some efforts taking place, whether it's our organization or our local economic development group that are trying to be able to figure out what that looks like to be able to approach those challenges.
What recent chamber events have been the most successful for the community?
Yeah, I kind of talked about it a little bit. We have our regular networking events. Those are very popular. It's a great way to be able to meet individuals. You would have been able to come to the Candy Quip one, which is where we would have met originally. But it's also a really great chance to be able to hear what's going on at the businesses who are hosting, or business or group organization that's hosting. And so those are happening almost on a weekly basis, usually on Friday mornings. We actually have a after hours this Thursday. I guess if this comes out next week, that'll already be passed. But regular networking events, which are in our newsletters, but also on our website calendar. So if people are interested in being able to attend those, you don't have to be a chamber member to attend. The more the merrier when it comes to those. And those are a lot of fun. But we also have several annual events that take place as well. One of those just would have passed in May. We had an event called Treasures in Ottawa, which is a shopping event where vendors can set up booths over at Legacy Square, and hopefully people came into town. Hopefully they continue to shop not just at Legacy Square, but in our downtown and throughout our entire community. And then we also have an event. We actually have two concerts that are part of our summer concert series each summer. Those are free concerts, also take place at Legacy Square. The one coming up for June 20th is Trevor Holman and the Haymakers down at Garnett. And then in August 8th, we have Clever Max doing a show for us as well. And so the chamber hosts a beer garden, and it's just a really fun evening of entertainment. And then we have an event in end of September, sometimes it's the beginning of October, called Ladies Night Out. Probably not your guys' scene, but that looks like exactly. Yeah, men are invited too, to be fair. But that looks like hundreds of ladies come to our downtown and participate in a scavenger hunt, and that looks like going into businesses to be able to get your maps checked off and be able to win prizes, and that's always a really fun event as well. And then I would finish with, we have during our holiday season, right after Thanksgiving, we have the Mayor's Tree Lighting, which is if you're familiar with Ottawa's downtown, there's Christmas lights on all the buildings, and that's whenever we flip the switch and turn all the lights on for the holiday season. So that's always a really fun one too, gets you into the festive season. That always falls on Small Business Saturday as well, so it's very fitting given that we're downtown on that Saturday. So there's a bunch of programs that we got going on, but those are some of our more bigger annual events that we really invite the public to be able to take advantage of and participate with.
And how does the chamber work with local government on community-wide projects?
Yeah, I think that's oftentimes a misconception, is that the chamber is part of the city of Ottawa, and that's actually not the case. Though we are partners and work very closely together, the chamber is its own 501c6 nonprofit, and the city is obviously a municipality. But we work very closely together. Some of that looks like when it comes to hosting some of those annual events, we have to get approval from the city, and sometimes that looks like working with the city. So if it's at Legacy Square, that's blocking parking, which the Ottawa Police Department helps with, or if it's using electricity, the utilities works with us to be able to make sure we have power on over there, so when we have our band set up, they have power to be able to play out their speakers. And so when it comes to events, that's one piece. I would also say from the communication aspect as well, the city works with us in regards to getting information pushed out to the community, whether it's road projects or changes or forums. And actually talk about forums, we have a specific committee through the chamber called the Legislative Action Committee. That's a group that works with our local legislators, specifically with our state legislators, but also with local races as well. So this coming fall, we'll have an election for our city commission and our school board, and we'll host a candidates forum for those individuals to be able to introduce themselves to the community and show people their platform that they're running on. And so from that standpoint as well, we hope give candidates for those elected official positions a voice as well. So there's a handful of ways that we work with the city. Actually, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we have our annual fireworks shoot coming up as well. So the chamber is the fundraising arm of the fireworks shoot. The city of Ottawa plays a huge part in being able to order the fireworks, purchase the fireworks, and also shoot the fireworks. And so on July 4th, we have fireworks largely in part by the City of Ottawa's help. They also are one of the largest benefactors as well, helping fund that mechanism. But there's also Franklin County government helps be able to fund that as well, along with private donations as well. But it's definitely no small feat to be able to purchase $8,000 to $10,000 worth of fireworks and then be able to shoot those off as well. There's a lot of hoops you got to be able to jump through, but it's a great event, obviously, to be able to celebrate our independence, and I'm very appreciative of the City of Ottawa's help to be able to make that happen. So that's a really good question. Thank you.
What advice would you give to someone starting a business in Ottawa today?
That'd be great. Well, it takes a special kind of person to be an entrepreneur for sure, and you can tell the people that are entrepreneurs are very passionate about the work that they do. And sometimes it's so easy to be able to know your craft. So, made up example, maybe you make ballpoint pens, and maybe you love making ballpoint pens. You might be the best ballpoint pen maker, but when you run a business, it's a little bit more than just making ballpoint pens. You got to be able to sell the ballpoint pens. You have to be able to do your accounting and your marketing, and there's aspects to running a business that can be really challenging. And one of the great resources that small business owners have in the state of Kansas is every community is represented by a small business development center. Ours is located out of Lawrence, at a KU's campus, and they cover several counties, ours being one of them. And they work with small businesses on anything. So whether you're having hiring issues, or maybe you have questions about how to be able to file taxes, or maybe that looks like trying to create a marketing plan or understand your consumers better, they have free confidential resources to be able to work with you. So if you are a small business, maybe your guys' podcast, maybe you need to have a conversation with them as well. They can definitely give you some awesome advice and tips and meet with you on how to be able to grow your business. And so great resource, often underutilized. A lot of people don't realize that they exist, but it's free, which is the best part.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything. It just entails reaching out and setting up a meeting to be able to have a conversation with them. So I would say if you are a new business, or maybe you're an existing business and you haven't reached out to the SBDC, I would highly advise you do that, because the worst thing that happens is maybe you have that meeting and you don't learn anything, which I'm very doubtful that's the case. But if you don't learn anything, then you lost an hour of your day. But most likely what will happen is you'll find business advice that will greatly influence the way that you're running your business. So, SBDC, KU Business Development Center.
All right.
I'm Brytin Fears.
I'm Gus Brown.
And I'm Gage Creaky.
Thank you
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
It's been the Hall Pass Summer School.